Hi friends, welcome back to Pages and Grace. My name is Jess, and today I'm going to answer the questions for the BookTube Newbie Tag. Alright, so I have my coffee, and I am ready. Let's go through these questions for the BookTube Newbie Tag. The first question is, why did I start this channel? So I have been watching BookTube for many years. I looked it up. I think it was 2018. You could kind of tell in my Goodreads when I started to pick up different books that I remember had been recommended to me through videos that I could tell. It was about 2018 that I started watching BookTube. I found people on the internet talking about books that they love, and that is fantastic. So I think we can all agree that Goodreads isn't very good at recommending books to you. If you have a good group of friends on Goodreads, it can be a good situation and you can find books through your friends. But Goodreads itself, even if you spend years putting in books that you're interested in, I have a hard time going through there. I enjoy it. I wish it would, but it falls flat. So when I found YouTube and real people talking to me about the books that they've read, I thought that was fantastic. And like I said, I've watched it since 2018. That would be, what, 6 years now? 6 years at this point that I've been watching people talk about books on YouTube. I started reading through some of the recommendations, the early recommendations, and you started to see a common thread. A lot of YA, a lot of YA fantasy, which there's nothing wrong with YA fantasy. I'm actually in the middle of a YA fantasy book right now. But a lot of the mainstream YA fantasy so I started to see a common thread that a lot of the YA fantasy that they were recommending just crossed lines that I wasn't comfortable with, especially in a YA book for young adults. Yeah, and as a teacher and a Christian, it just, I wanted books that I could read in front of my students, books that I could set on my desk, because I was a middle school teacher, and some of the books I would see my kids carry around just, I'm sorry, I keep getting interrupted. My 4-year-old is playing in there, and the 2-year-olds are sleeping, and I'm trying to keep them sleeping for a little bit longer so I can finish this video. Anyway, so I was watching BookTube for about 6 years at this point, and I wanted to start my own channel. One thing I found, it was about 2 years ago. It was right after I lost my mom, and I could just feel God stirring in my heart. And we lost Mom in November. In January, I started reading the Bible every day. And that, if you've never, I was with you. Do not feel judged. Do not feel condemned in any way. But if you are feeling that stirring in your heart, that, is there something more? Is there something different I want to be doing? Pick up the Bible every day. It will change your life. It will absolutely change your life. And so that year I read through the Bible. I had never done that before. I always struggled to pick up the Bible. I definitely had a lot of grief I was going through that helped me stay motivated and to keep going through it. That year of listening to the Bible every day absolutely changed my life. Bringing God's words into my life every day, it leaves you more open to God's calling in your own life. It led me to a crazy job opening, working at the small Christian school. So I went from teaching in public education for 9 years to being led to say, yeah, it was the craziest situation. Like, I didn't even have to interview. My life was the interview. There were people that had known me my whole life. And in my new job, I was not only allowed to share my faith with these students, I was expected to. I was expected to guide them through everything. I mean, I taught science. Science. I was a science and a religion teacher, which is absolutely me. And I just, the amount of growth that I personally had as an adult, being required to not only talk about my faith, but be able to back it up and to be able to answer all the questions. Middle schoolers are the absolute best at making sure you understand something because they are going to question everything and they have the best questions. Sometimes they're off the wall, but they will challenge your understanding and get you to a place where you solidly understand what you're talking about. Otherwise, it's not going to fly. And there are so many other things about reading the Bible that I could share, and I'm not going to, but maybe at some point I will. I don't want to take this video to do that, but I want to say that sorry, I've got babies. I think they might be waking up here soon. I'm watching the monitor too. Going through that and saying that scary, terrifying yes to go teach, leaving a job that I loved to teach in the unknown, shaped my faith in a way that has given me the confidence to do this. And then that's the all roundabout way of saying that. And this year, I'm actually staying home. I have 3 little boys this year, and they need their mama. So I am staying home this year and not going back to school in the fall for the first time since kindergarten. It's the first time I won't be going back to school. It feels very weird. But now that I'm staying home, I definitely wanted a creative outlet, and so here I am sharing all of my books that I'm reading here on YouTube, and they're up. So I will be back with the next question in a little bit. False alarm. I'm gonna try to get through one more question here. So what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? And I think at this point it's hard to decide that. I don't know what kind of videos I'm going to enjoy making. I don't know what kind of videos you are going to enjoy watching the most. So at this point, it's hard to tell, but I can tell you some unique things about me. I am a mama to 3 boys. So I'm a foster and adoptive mom. I have a 4-year-old that we adopted last August. And I currently have 2 twin 2-year-old boys that we foster. I've been married to my best friend for 9 years. I can't believe it's been 9 years. Next summer it'll be 10. Over the last 5 years, we have had 5 different kids in our home who will always have a little piece of our heart, even if they're no longer here with us. I'm a former middle school science teacher, and I just talked about this, but I'm a former middle school science teacher. You will probably see a little bit of this in my reading. I love reading middle grade books, and I also love reading science books. I will forever be a science nerd, and that's something that'll be on my channel. I love to garden, and we raise chickens, and we used to love to go camping before we had 3 little ones, 4 and under. But hopefully that'll be in the future coming back. And the next question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? I just want to share books with the community that loves books as much as I do. I have so much fun over on my Instagram finding friends and finding book recommendations and chatting with people. And I was surprised then that was the best part about it. It wasn't the books, it was the people. So basically, I just want somebody to listen to me talk about books and share their books. And yeah. Question 4, why do you love reading? So I've loved reading since I was a little kid. I was always reading. I had 2 older brothers, and there's one TV and one other form of entertainment. I never had the TV. And so I had books, and we all honestly, we all loved reading. My mom read to us all the time when we were kids. And that just instilled a love of reading in us. I've always been able to get lost in a good book, but the transition from kid books to adult books was not as seamless as it is today. So when I was younger, there wasn't a good, there was Harry Potter. I was in, 5th grade when Harry Potter came out. And my middle school reading teacher read us Harry Potter. And it was just the last 5-10 minutes of class every day. She would read us a little bit of it. And as a class, she did a fantastic job of reading, but leaving the intrigue and just leaving off at a cliffhanger. So we were so excited to read the next chapter the next day. And I still talk to my friends from that class. That I grew up with a very small class of kids. And that is one of the big core memories that we have from middle school and reading. And we kind of grew up with those books. Now, there wasn't a lot that was interesting besides that. I remember in my high school, I struggled to find books that I wanted because they were either old or they were adult books that didn't interest me. Like, I don't want to, as a 16-year-old, read about somebody who's 30. Like, that's old at 16. But all of this, the money wasn't being pumped into YA books at that point. And there, at least in my little corner of the world, I could not find books that I wanted to read. The internet wasn't what the internet is today. So all that to say, I definitely struggled to read going into adulthood. That paired with going to college, I got a degree in biology, and the amount of nonfiction reading that went into it just left me drained, not wanting to pick up anything else and go do something else besides read at that point. So I was definitely in the longest reading slump of my life, and we'll talk more about that at another time. So what book or series got you into reading? I would have to say Dr. Seuss, of course, as a little kid, and reading Dr. Seuss books to the kids that I would babysit. I loved reading and having the story come to life with them. The Boxcar Children. Have you ever read the Boxcar Children? I think I have. I have some of them down there, but I don't think the first one. I think the first one is my personal book from when I was a kid, and it's in a storage box in the other room. I read the Boxcar Children over and over and over. The first few over and over and over. And I loved The American Girls before the dolls. It wasn't about the dolls. It was historical fiction. I just pulled those out. Here's one. The Kirsten's Surprise. So this is the book. Yeah, that is definitely the picture. So this book, my first grade teacher read through with us. And was it? Why did I remember? She's my favorite teacher ever. And read through this book, and then her daughter actually dressed up like this and brought in the treats along to our class in first grade. And it's a core memory, never forget. But historical fiction, this definitely got me into, especially revolutionary historical fiction. Who was that? Felicity. Felicity was during the Revolutionary War. I read her books. I think my favorites were like Felicity, the American Revolution probably started my interest in revolutionary history. Kirsten, Samantha, all of I read those over and over and over again as a kid. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So my question would be, what's your favorite video to make? So I have made a couple different types of videos. They're all very different, and they're different on the back end to edit and produce. But I'd be curious, what's your favorite video to make? The favorite type of video to make? Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a YouTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Time management. That's definitely it. I have 3 little boys who... Yep. Okay, right here. Thank you. Who need their mama. And finding the time to sit down and record videos and edit the videos is definitely a challenge so far. But I think as time goes on, they will be easier to edit and faster at producing the videos. So, but I do think that's going to be the biggest hurdle to start with. Question 8, when did you start reading? I kind of answered this one before, but I'll talk about what got me back into reading. In 2018, that was it, 2018, I was watching Hallmark Channel, and I love watching, I don't anymore, we don't have a service for TV. I was watching Hallmark Channel, and I was watching a video, or a movie, and there was a commercial coming on for the movie, and it said it's based on the book by Jenny Hale. And I was like, you know, after years and years and years of, one, trying to get back into reading, not finding anything that really hit me, that I enjoyed. Like, I read books, but not in any large quantity, because I couldn't find something that got me hooked. And I was like, you know, maybe I could read a Hallmark movie book. And so I picked up the book by Jenny Hale. I looked it up. I don't have it. It was a Christmas to Remember. I loved it. And if I went back and reread it today, would it be the absolute perfect book? Probably not. But in that moment where I was in my reading journey, it was fantastic. I loved it. And I picked up, I think I've talked about this before, but I have many, many Jenny Hale books here on my shelf. So I picked up that book. It was my first book of the year that I made it all the way through. And by the end of November, I had read 6 more books. And so I really found one type of book that I was interested in picking up. And then from there, after I only finished 1 or 2 books the previous 3 years, I was back to reading, which was awesome. Question number 9. Where do you read? Anywhere. Anywhere I can. A lot of times it's an audiobook. At this stage of life, it is an audiobook where I have an AirPod in one ear and I can hear them out of the other ear. And there's a lot of interruptions. There's a lot of just having to put the book down for a while, which is totally fine. I love to read outside when it's nice out. We have a hammock outside I love to go read in our chair, on the sofa, in the bed, like anywhere that I have time, I want to be reading. I do have a Kindle, and I go through spurts with the Kindle. I will read several books in a row on the Kindle, and then I don't know where it is for a while. Like, I just go through phases of, and I think it's when I have the books available. Like, I found a book I really want to read, and I have it on Kindle, I'll pick it up, and then it will get me in the habit of reading on my Kindle. So I try to keep a couple books on my bedside table. I used to be in the habit of waking up and reading first thing. I would read the Bible first and then read a chapter of something. I haven't done that. That's what I should do. I should take my book while I'm in the middle of reading, trying to get through Terry Blackstock, and put it over there. Okay. What kind of books do you like to read? I like to read all different types of books. I think historical fiction is probably one of my favorite. Fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, thrillers. They've got to be a mild thriller. I am not jumpy, scary. No thanks. Clean romance, Christian fiction, Christian nonfiction, general nonfiction that has something to do with one of my interests. Let's see, middle grade books. I think that's it. So that's all the questions for today. Thanks so much if you made it to the end. I really appreciate you being here and spending your time with me. Let me know if you have a channel. I'd love to go watch your first video, or one of your first videos about the BookTube Newbie Tag, to get to know you a little bit better as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. And I just realized that whole time I had my... I went through all of my teacher bins that had been sitting around. And the one that I have used the most is my binder clips and other little things in there. But that needs a new home. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
I think I might get eaten food.
It's a supermarket. Wow. I didn't know you knew that word.
Cat.
That is a cat.
Kiwi.
Kiwi?
Purple.
Purple.
Red.
Flowers.
Yogurt.
Yogurt. What kind of yogurt is it?
I don't know.
Banana.
Apple.
Apple.
Purple.
Good job, buddy.
I found out this too.
Oh, the zoo?
Woo.
Drive the truck.
Whoa, right away. Adventure.
Oh no.
Adventure.
Are they trying to get to the campfire? Where's the campfire?
It's a weather.
There's a fire.
I just saw a boot.
A boot.